Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show. Our guest this week realized music was his calling when he heard Metallica play on the Pizza Hut jukebox way back in grade school. His self-described gunpowder country sound has resonated with an ever-growing fan base across the country. Please welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show, Joe Hermes. Hi, Joe. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rosie and Bill. Happy to be here.
Well, we are happy to have you, Joe. We've got a lot that we want to talk with you about, but I would be remiss if I didn't start with something that Rosie just talked about, that song, that jukebox, Metallica, Pizza Hut jukebox. So what was it about the Metallica? I'm assuming it might have been Enter Sandman, but what was it about that resonated with you the way it did?
Well, I think it was just the feeling. It was the right time, right place. It was the feeling and the sound, and Pizza Hut had some pretty solid jukeboxes when I was a kid. And most, I don't know if people watching this even know what a jukebox is, but by golly, we did. And what's ironic about that is my son just found, like, he loves Fortnite, and Fortnite just launched Metallica in Fortnite, and he's like, "Dad, have you heard this?" And I'm just like, "Yes, son, I have."
How old is your son?
He's 9.
Wow.
So he's a little bit younger than I was by about 2 years, and it's crazy. It's like I don't know, like he's latched on to the Metallica world. It's not like I go around playing Metallica all the time in my truck. I mean, it was just kind of I love Metallica, but I've evolved, I think, from that being the only thing I listened to. So I was thinking, I was like, man, I don't even play that really for him. So it was neat to watch him just latch on the way that I did.
Yeah, he discovered it like you did. It's in the bloodlines somehow.
Something about the feeling and the grit, and I don't know, the electric guitars, and I mean, he gets it. And
that intro gets the blood flowing, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Well,
that's what made me pick up my first guitar. I was like, I want to be able to play that.
And so you were what, about 11, 12 years old when you started playing guitar?
Sixth grade. So I'd have to do the math, but right in there.
Right. And did you get lessons, or did you just say, "Hey, Mom and Dad, I want a guitar"?
I got a guitar. I took lessons for about 3 lessons, and then my buddy, who was like my childhood buddy that played drums and guitar, we just started jamming together. We would sit down at night on the weekends, Friday nights, Saturday nights. We'd watch Metallica videos and start learning Metallica songs, and that's all we did for a few years. And that was, that and ride dirt bikes and 4-wheelers.
Boy stuff.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate each and every one of you. And we also appreciate our first and longest running sponsor of the show, Tom and his team of insurance professionals at the Malin Agency. If world-class customer service and doing business with someone you can trust is important to you, give Tom and his team a call today for all your insurance needs.
Now, when you were in high school and college, in addition to whatever bands you were playing in, you also were a standout football player, and you had a pretty intense major in college, and you got a master's in exercise physiology. 2 questions about that. How did you balance all of that, first of all? Because when you play D1 sports in college, that's a full-time job. And the second part of it is, how did you parlay that into your art?
Well, full disclosure, I didn't play Division I. I coached Division I. I played Division II and Division III, which was still, I mean,
yes, still a lot.
But when I went back to play football, I had put music down, and I put music down for about 10 years. So once, I kind of did the rock band thing right out of high school for a few years, and that was like, a fast track to a hard time, and if you know what I mean. And I ended up having to, you know, make a decision. And when I decided that I was going to try to, go back to school and go back to playing football, um, I had to pick one. So, but as we kind of talked before this, that artist creativity side of me was always there. Um, I think I just kind of put it in a closet for a while and just locked it up. And, it was about 10 years later that I decided to trade in the electric guitar for an acoustic guitar. And all of a sudden I had some more life under my belt and started writing songs again. And they just started making more sense. And then the country stuff started making more sense. And not only country, but I was listening to a lot of, oh man, just a lot of different genres of music. And, from folk to Americana to even bluegrass and just singer-songwriter stuff. And it just expanded. I was a pretty narrow visioned rocker when I was young. And then it was like coming back to it, it was like, man, there's a whole world out here to explore of music. And so then, that's what started me down the path that led us here to this interview.
Yeah, and Joe, I have to tell you, one thing that's clear, it may not have been the case, like you said, when you were younger, maybe you had the tunnel vision on rock music, but as you've grown as an artist, and as I looked at sort of the progression of your musical career, you, to me, come off as extremely genuine and authentic, both your singing, your songwriting, and you're the same way as a person. And one of the things that really impressed me was I look back at, I think it was around 2017, you had come to kind of a crossroads, in your life, both personally and professionally, dealing with some very difficult times. But you found a way to navigate through it. So how did that all come about, and what gave you the strength to get through everything that you were dealing with back then?
Well, I think anybody that has gone through traumatic situations, there's not really a roadmap. I think it was a do or die type of thing. Like it wasn't a question of want. I had to find a way to get through what I was going through. And what transpired was getting very honest with myself. And I felt like the only way I was going to get through what I was going through was to be brutally honest with myself, regardless of what anybody else thought. And interestingly enough, by doing that, I got some good songs going out of it. And coincidentally, right after that happened, I started playing them it was actually my first real solo show. I'd been doing some open mic stuff, and coincidentally, a guy from Nashville was sitting in the audience and asked if I had a demo, and I said, well, nothing I want to give you. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, if you come down to Nashville with me, I'll put you around some folks that I know, and if you like it, great, and if you don't, no big deal. And I talked to my wife, and next thing I knew, I was in Ocean Way Studios on Music Row, and 2 weeks later, and it was just like, wow. But what was interesting is by writing that song during those hard times, not only did I find my first manager out of Nashville, I also found my first really true fan. It's a gal here in town that had just lost her dad. And I played that song, and I mean, it was just like, she came up to me and said, where can I find that song? And I said, I just wrote it, like literally like a few weeks ago.
And Joe, the song you're talking about, I'm assuming, is Other Side, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. The song Other Side.
It's a beautiful song.
Thank you. Thanks. And so that's just been a staple, and I kind of just built from there. And I said, I can't be somebody I'm not, and I realize I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but um, there's probably, by me being real and me being who I am, there's going to be people that connect with that. And, you know,
It does seem to be a recipe for success. It's been a through line and commonality for many of our guests when they finally realize that everything they need is already within. It's like the Dorothy thing, there's no place like home. Oh, I had everything and I didn't realize it. I didn't have to leave. But sometimes we do. Sometimes we have to go away to appreciate and understand what we really have is valuable and
100%.
that there's no one else like us.
Coincidentally, I just went to my hometown in Hayworth, Illinois, which is just a few miles south of Bloomington, Bill. And this little town of Hayworth, where I grew up, just held the first veteran songwriter session for this. It's called Freedom Sings. And I was invited by a couple of ladies that were putting it on and brought these songwriters out of Nashville. And it blew me away that we're sitting in the American Legion in my hometown where they're launching this Freedom Sings project where writers get together with vets and it just clicked with me. I was like, wait a minute, this is exactly what music did for me to get with a veteran and let them put their trauma or their experience or anything, put some meat and potatoes to it that they can see it and hear it and feel it and like just the power in that just reminded me. This just happened last week, so I'm sorry for ranting, but it was just the songwriters that they brought in are not just Grammy award winning songwriters. These guys have wrote some of the biggest songs that have ever been written, and it's just blew me away that like here's like to your point, Rosie, I'm from this little town of 1,500 people. I've been all over the friggin' Midwest here playing and songwriting, and then I come back and some of the best songwriters on the planet show up in my hometown to work with veterans from my hometown, and it's just like wow, like it's crazy. It's just unbelievable how all this is happening.
That is goosebump material. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. And the fact that what's being done and the reason why it's being done and who it's being done for makes it even that much more special.
Yeah. That is, there's so many songs out there. The world doesn't need more songs, right? The world needs more songs that mean something. And in an ever-changing environment, we are the storytellers, right? We're the ones that put what we're feeling out there and people gravitate towards it and it's very important. I mean, like people talk about AI a lot. I mean, I don't care what you say. AI will never replace real songwriters.
Amen
I mean,
to that.
they just can't.
Yeah, I agree with you. Bill and I've had that.
A soul. The minute you show me a computer with a soul, maybe now. But
thank you, Joe. I've had this argument with my brother and with Bill.
Wait, I never took the side of AI.
The reason AI is not going to take over the world is exactly what you just said. There is no soul in AI.
Yes, I'm a songwriter. I'm no fan of AI.
No, I'm not. Listen, it's going to be it is very necessary. It's going to be very helpful, but it's not going to replace human beings. That's all I'm saying. I don't believe so. Anyway.
It is I think to me, it's very early in the whole thing, but AI for me it's a very evolved tool, just like a guitar or a piano, but the capability is so much more. However, that again, it's to me, it's like, you got the original of something, and then you get all the knockoff brands that like kind of look like it and kind of sound like it, and some are really good knockoffs, but there's that in between gooey stuff that they just can't seem to nail. And you know, maybe a few years down the road it'll be a different story, but I just don't see it. Like from what I know about songs and songwriting, you can't actually put your finger on it. Like you can say, well, yeah, the hook is here and here's the lyrics and here's the melody, right? But I mean, if it was that simple, then
Everyone would be a star
everybody
or
would
whatever.
have hit
Yeah.
songs, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. Like the soul, in my opinion, which is a mystery in and of itself, but that's the missing ingredient, and that's what makes something special, and that's what touches people that you've never met before, and that's why music is so healing, and why these veterans are resonating with this sort of thing. And I think it's great that you were able to be a part of that, and that here you are back in Illinois, and like you said, Nashville's coming to you. So that's pretty cool.
It was surreal. I'm just like, you got to be kidding me, because I work with some great guys down there. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, one of the main guys putting the song wrote Old Red. I mean, Blake Shelton's bar, and like here's the guy that wrote that song on Main Street that I used to walk down, after grade school every day. It's just like, you know, it just it was one of those moments that was just like, wow. Like you couldn't write it any better, you know?
Right. And it's like it's a validation of everything you've been called to do.
Yeah, I think if anything, I've been like every artist and musician, and I still work. I still run a business up here to keep the lights on, and and I'm always balancing work, family, and music, and those are my big three. And I try to always keep my eye on what's important. And um, the sometimes it gets very, very, very difficult. And I would say um, we had a big show for us. It was going to be the biggest show that we've done to date, and that was Tailgate and Tall Boys on here back June 13th, and we were opening for Cody Johnson. And this was
Oh.
like, to me, we were going to go out in front of whatever, 5,000-8,000 people as the warm up band, for his 15 or 20, whatever they were going to bring that night. And anyway, we ended up getting canceled.
Mm.
Storms came in, and that whole day, the whole first day of that festival got canceled, and we were crushed, just crushed. And I had to go to Iowa the next week, and to Hampton, Iowa, and I'm making that drive, just going, man, do I really want to do this? Like, this is you just put everything you have into it, and you don't know what's going to come out the other side. But coincidentally, in Hampton, Iowa, 5 hours from my hometown, we were playing a show, and uh, it was just me and the lead guitar player, and I was playing other side, and this butterfly started dancing out in front of me, in front of the stage, and
Oh, I
the
saw the
butterfly.
video. Oh.
So what you saw in that video, what was interesting about that is you didn't see it wasn't captured on the video, but I had just got done telling the audience that the significance of the butterfly with my family, and between me and my wife and my mom and dad. And when we lost our little baby girl, at her service, this monarch butterfly sat on her casket the entire service. And to see those butterflies had no business being anywhere near that stage. There wasn't flowers, there wasn't grass, it was concrete. So that was special, and I told the audience about that. So then the next song we started into was Walk Away Whiskey, and the butterfly came up and sat on my finger on the microphone.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it just sat there, and it was like, all of a sudden, uh, it was like she was there. She's like, Dad, this is why you're doing this, because people out here are connecting with your story and song. And we got done. This lady had wrote a very nice comment on my YouTube channel. I mean, she wrote me a novel about how impactful that was. And so I thought it was one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me on stage. And the next day I raced back to Illinois to meet up with those songwriters in my hometown, and then to watch what they're doing with veterans.
Mm.
Um, all of a sudden, all the hustle and bustle about social media and not getting the big show with Cody Johnson, like, all those hopes and hypes and all those things that were really just dragging me down inside, like making me question my heart in this. It was just like brought me right back to why I'm doing it. This is why I'm doing it, because um, it's not for the glam or the fame or anything like that. It's like you're doing it to connect with people and to help people through uh, you know uh, there's a lot of ways to help people, and a lot of times people don't know how to help people. And fortunately for me, the thing that's helped me is what I want to help share with the world. And it's the only thing I really know how. But you know
Well,
so
I
there.
think your daughter was saying, Dad, don't give up. This is, she set you back on the path, set you straight.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was just like this is why you're driving to Iowa, Dad. This is why, you know what I mean? Like as an independent artist, you're flipping all your own bills, and you're pulling double time, triple time, doing everything you can do to keep your dream alive, keep your family safe, and keep them as a priority. And there's only so much time in the day, and like I said, it's um, just having that is just like an aha moment. It's like, yep, this is what started it. And and so, yeah, I think working with veterans is in my future.
Mm.
I have a huge respect for the military and for vets. And um like I said, we'll see where it goes, but it sure was pretty eye-opening to have all that happen.
Yeah, it's important work, and really no coincidence what happened. To me, it sounds like a very clear message on validating what you're doing. You mentioned Walk Away Whiskey very quickly before we go. Talk to us about what inspired that song.
So if you look at my portfolio of music that I've written, there's a lot of whiskey songs in it. And like any good country rock artist would have, I quit drinking whiskey 2 years ago. And so I wrote a lot of songs about drinking whiskey, and now I write a lot of songs about how I used to drink whiskey. So, um, Walk Away Whiskey was a title I had come up with, and it came up in a writing session, and it just kind of fell together great. And the idea was that putting down the whiskey bottle felt like uh, breaking up, one of those bad breakups with a girl that you knew wasn't right for you, but man, you kept going back to it, when you're feeling weak late at night, and you're picking up the phone and you're calling, and you shouldn't. And anyway, that whole parallel between the two, I was like, there's a song right there. And so Walk Away Whiskey, whiskey is the name of the girl in the song. And but you could easily read it as just putting down the bottle. So
Right.
um, it's fun. It's not any deeper than that, but that's how it came about.
Yeah, well, I will tell you, Joe. I added that and whiskey fixer upper to my ultimate fitness playlist. So when I'm at the gym at 6 a.m., songs like that help me get 2 more reps.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bill, I'll I'll let you play that, and then I'll go get some of my old coaching snippets, and I'll send those to you until you get a few more reps than just 2.
Oh,
I used to whip quite a few people into shape, even though I'm not quite in the shape I used to be. But by golly, you give me a whistle and a weight room, and we'll get it cleaned up real quick.
yeah. And I'm not a small guy myself, but I would listen to you.
I like that. You're going to motivate him.
That's you know what? That's all I did. You're dealing with college athletes, and they're tough. I mean, they got a lot of weight on them, in their heads, with a lot of stuff going on, and you got to be able to cut through that noise and get them trained. And I was pretty good at it for a while before I put it down.
Well, you're on to other things, but you can still share some of that knowledge with people when needed. And I'm sure Bill will be appreciative of that. And I may even as well. Who knows?
Yeah, I got all kinds of workouts I can send you, Bill.
Okay.
I
used to do a lot of Dorian Yates HIT stuff until I blew both shoulders out and, had to have my rotators reattached a couple times. So I'm a little limited, but I still try to, work as hard as I can when I'm in there.
You see, I wouldn't have had you doing the Dorian Yates hip program, Bill. That's why you blew your shoulders out.
You two have to talk. You two definitely have to talk when we're finished.
Well, we had those debates all the time. Like you got these athletes at the Division I level. I mean, there's a lot of money behind them, and you can't break them, but you still got to train them. And that was the dance all the time. But yeah, I use that on stage. Like that getting up in front of people. It's like you kind of put on that. I am genuine and it is real, but you got to kind of put on that coach face, right, where it's game time. And I use that same thing when it comes to performing.
Well, Joe, listen, we appreciate you coming and talking to us, and we wish you all the best and lots of success and many more things to come in the future. And we look forward to also seeing what you do with veterans in the future.
Yeah,
and that work that will come. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. And hopefully it's the first of many. And I do appreciate having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, as usual, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Friday nights is for cruising town with the music cranked up loud. And Saturdays and football games, sipping cold ones on the couch. Hunting, fishing, it's a way of life, living off this land. Family time and walking the line, Sunday mornings we join hands. Baptized by the South, church bells ring out. Sins of the sons and daughters, washed in the shine in the holy water. Baptized by the South, roots grow way down, where the people are proud, still kneel and pray and thank God for every day. Baptized by the South. That old black flood water, it's the devil's daughter. And if that levee breaks, it's up to the heavenly Father what this land gives or takes. Baptized by the South, church bells ring out. Sins of the sons and daughters, washed in the shine in the holy water. Baptized by the South, roots grow way down, where the people are proud, still kneel and pray and thank God for every day. Baptized by the South. Watching out for those summer storms, it comes around every June. Though the farmers' fields need the rain, they can take a life too soon.
This week's episode has been brought to you by Doherty & Company Insurance Services for all your business and personal insurance needs. Our friends at Tennis Addiction in Exton, PA. And the Mallon Agency, where exceeding expectations is how they do business.